do a clap.
Monet, can you be on your best behavior today? We have company.
We should do a slap slate, Bob.
Slap slate. I wish I could do a motherfucking slap.
One, two.
I'll count. 1, 2, 3.
I wish they could see everything that happens before the clap slate because y'all, Bobby putting on for y'all so hard. He's so mean and rude. Anyway, hi,
bitch. I ain't never been mean to you, bitch. Now be on your best goddamn behavior. We have company today. Let's welcome to the podcast. All the way from Dropout TV. Brennan Lee Mulligan.
You are sitting on your floor like you are a white woman on a novel. With your leg, just a white woman on a novel, like. My life, my words.
You mean like the writer on the back when it's like the author, like notes on the author, and she's like,
it's like my life, my love, my all.
Well, it's because I'm in a hotel and I use a table, but the desk is in the dark, but the table is by the light, but the table is a coffee table. So if I sit on the couch, so I'm on the floor.
That looks like a very nice hotel. I said, oh, she got fucking money.
Okay, we need to get started. Welcome to that podcast, Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Hello, one and all. We have Brennan Lee Mulligan. I wanted to do that.
Brennan Mulligan.
Wow. That's what it's like being on that end. Oh my God. That's intense.
Sibling Rivalry listeners, listen, y'all are in for a treat because we have Brennan Lee Mulligan in the house from Dimension 20 and Dungeons and Dragons.
Thank you so much.
Before we get cracking, we need to say up front that Dimension 20 in Dungeons and Drag Queens is unstruck work. We are not scabbing. Check your local union rules to verify that.
Yes.
But this is Dimension 20 specifically, especially our episode Dungeons and Drag Queens is A-OK. We are all 3 union strong and support our union.
Well, Brennan and I are. We don't know what Bob is doing. Bob is scabbing, but Brennan and I are not.
First of all, his name is Brennan, not Brandon.
I said Brennan.
We'll play the footage back. Look, yeah, everybody on mute. Quick spoiler. If you have not seen Dimension 20 Dungeons and Drag Queens, there are some spoilers here. Monet is the reason for the spoiler.
Also, this is literally called the one about Dungeons and Drag Queens. So if you came in here not expecting to get a spoiler, what is wrong with you?
With that in mind, let's get things cracking.
Brennan, how are you doing?
I'm doing phenomenal. Yet very excited. We just got the news about a week or two ago. A clean bill of health from Screen Actors Guild and from labor lawyers, and passed with flying colors. We actually may have even been over eager in shutting down production. Anyway, we actually our contract has always been good to go, but we just have so much solidarity that I think we assumed. We just assumed we're going dark, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, SAG was like, "You guys know that you're good to go. We love you. You're free to make stuff." And we went, okay. Very eager to be in solidarity.
Sipping on that solidarity.
Well,
exactly.
so because this happened about episode 3 of ours, I believe. So we, like the 4 of us, the 4 of us meaning Bob, Jujubee, Alaska, and myself, we were like, I guess we shouldn't post this because all of us are SAG, and now we could have been talking about our shit the whole time. It's very upsetting.
The whole time, but I'll tell you what. In terms of promotion, oh my God, the side quest was the outpouring of love, of fan art, of all of the people talking about. I mean, I knew when we recorded it that Dungeons and Drag Queens was very, very special. And for your listeners, as that I'm sure know, but Bob and Monet came onto Dimension 20, which is Dropout / College Humor's actual play. Where we get amazing, funny, talented performers. We play Dungeons and Dragons. We build custom miniatures. We have awesome art, and then we put it up as a show on Dropout.tv. And it was such a joy. Our adventure, Dungeons and Drag Queens, I was blown away by it, and then so were the fans. So it was awesome.
Yeah.
So I mean, Dropout is such a cool platform. I was first on Dropout when I did Game Changer, which is constantly on my TikTok, and then I did. So Game Changer was a really, really fun game. My episode, we were trying to make someone cry The goal was this couple.
Interesting.
This couple trying to make. Well, because of how often I make you cry, they were like, well, Bob will be perfect for this.
That's true. Yeah.
It's actually it was a little too easy, actually. And it was so fun. The studio is great. Everyone over there is just so friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk specifically about this episode and how it came about, because I mean, I'm not in the world of D&D. Well, now I am.
Yeah, girl.
There you go.
But beforehand, I had actually never done they're called campaigns.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I had never done a campaign once, even in middle school. I always tell folks I was Yu-Gi-Oh strong. When all the nerds were gathering around their little cliques, their West Side Story style gang.
Pokemon,
like,
Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon. Did Digimon ever have a card? No, it was only TV.
They had figurines.
Right.
For sure. They might have had cards, but I know they had figurines for sure, because I was Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, when you were a kid and you were hanging on these groups, there's the Magic the Gathering kids, okay? Mm-hmm. There's the D&D kids. There's the Pokemon kids, the Yu-Gi-Oh kids, the Digimon kids.
Which table was you sitting at?
Right. I was with the Yu-Gi-Oh kids, but the Pokemon kids were strong. I mean,
was a Pokemon kid.
These motherfuckers.
I was a Pokemon
There was
kid.
a lot of them. They were aggressive. They were mean.
I will say this. I started trading Pokemon cards in middle school, and one of like the first 4 or 5 packets I bought, I'm not kidding, I got a holographic Charizard card. Right? But back then, I did not know its value. I swear, I traded it for something so stupid, like a fucking Bulbasaur or some shit. I as a middle school kid, I was always book smart, not street smart. So I was like, I'll trade you my holographic Charizard for your Bulbasaur. And they're like, okay. And then, years later, I realized what a stupid fucking decision that was.
Somebody said, watch this. Get this fucking idiot. Notice that card is shining. Ew, gross. We hate that. We'll take that off your hands. I'll give you the wrapper my packet came in.
Brennan, who were you? What did you?
I started Magic the Gathering. So I got introduced to Magic the Gathering San Diego Comic-Con 1996. My mom, Elaine Lee, was a comic book writer, and so was going to work at comic conventions. And there was a dude who had opened like 1,000 packs of Magic the Gathering cards, stripped all the uncommons and rares, and just had a giant box of commons and was selling them for like $10. So I got this huge box of cards. That's how I started playing. Commons are the least monetarily valuable cards. So the rares and uncommons are your blue eyes white dragons, they're your holographic Charizards. He had stripped all of those and left a bunch of like swamps and grizzly bears. You're like, yeah. Had all those cards, and I played for many years until you get to that age where you can start to like, you're old enough to start taking things a little too seriously. And I had some friends who were like, I was like, oh, I made a new Magic deck. And friends were like, I went to the store this weekend and I bought card by card all of the best cards as singles from behind the counter. And I've made an unbeatable, basically my friends with money just won. And then I went, well, my time in this hobby has come to an end.
That's so funny. They're like, so you'll never beat me. We are in a different tax bracket.
Girl. I should look up. Jacob, can you look up what the value of a holographic Charizard card is? I'm very curious. Can you just look it up?
There's a YouTuber named Logan Paul, small time guy, but he has been chasing down holographic Charizards. And let's just say if someone wanted to do what they did with Magic the Gathering with Pokemon cards, it would be a lot more expensive. I think he paid like, I don't want to guess, but it is an ungodly amount. It is more than a house to buy a holographic Charizard card. If you truly had a holographic Charizard card,
I did.
It literally cost more than a house.
I realized
like a very nice house.
Maybe like that next year, I realized because I was still into Pokemon, but in middle school, you kind of. A lot of things were changing for me. My voice is getting deeper. I was trying to like hook up with other guys. So like I had more interests that were percolating. And then like a year, I remember we were like, oh, this is really expensive. I was like, oh shit. And then now I'm wondering what it was. Anyway, so Dimension 20. So
wait, Jacob has the answer.
Oh.
So here's the distinction. There are two types. There's a first edition holographic Charizard. That's going to be the expensive one. That's worth I think the one that Bob was talking about went for $420,000.
I don't think mine was. I don't remember actually. I don't think so.
But like a regular holographic Charizard is probably going to go for like $300 to $500.
Oh wait, $1,000 or dollars?
Dollars.
Bitcoin. 300 Bitcoin.
The first edition is really the main distinction.
Got it. So Brennan, how did y'all decide that y'all wanted to have queens for this? Like, where did that idea come from?
The idea started to bubble up from a number of different corners, actually. So number one, everyone at Dropout is a huge Drag Race fan. Everybody at Dropout, enormous fans of both of yours, enormous fans of Alaska and Jujubee. I got to tell you, there are coworkers. So the show's been doing well for a minute, but there are coworkers of mine that I think got professional respect for me as a dungeon master when they found out I would be working with you.
That's so funny.
People in Slack being like, Brennan, the show's doing well. And I was like, we both work here. Like, you know that's true. But they were like, but Bob and Monet are coming out. And it's like, yeah. So it was a huge deal. I remember telling my wonderful wife, Izzy, I was like, I think this is going to happen. I think we're in talks and it's looking good. And I think these are the queens we're going to be working with. And she was fully like, I need a moment to just process that this is happening. It was very,
that's so cute.
Sam Reich, our CEO, huge Drag Race fan. Paul Robolino, who's one of our heads of development, enormous Drag Race fan. And then there were a couple of people, I believe, at PEG that were big Dimension 20 fans as well. And so this conversation got
it.
There was just this sort of mutual, like, we're people that are working behind the scenes that are in orbit of each other. And the second that it seemed like, hey, there's some mutual interest here, we reached out right away, and it was a slam dunk for me as well, because I think that just like having watched both of you perform, having gone to both like live shows in person, and Bob actually has some connections to like my old friends in the New York comedy scene from like Josh
I just
Sharp.
found that out.
Yes, wild.
Yeah.
So like knowing the like, I had no doubts in my mind that we would produce a great season of the show, because like, there's an interesting thing. People were like, oh, this is so wild. Like drag queens playing D&D. And in my head, I think I was always like, I think there's going to be a lot of synchronicity. And like, this is a lot of things are running parallel.
Yeah.
Like big performance energy, embracing things that are epic and larger than life and camp and fun and dramatic. Like all of these things are kind of part and parcel of the same energy of like storytelling and performance and drama. And then when it all started to come together, it was like, okay, we can get these 4 performers for these days. Like, and then the creative sort of happened around, like once we knew we'd be working with you, that's when the creative started. So it was really about the opportunity to work with you. And then the season kind of took shape around that.
So, I didn't realize how well connected and deep in the world of improv and comedy, extemporaneous humor, Brennan Lee Mulligan is. I just knew Brennan as a producer at Dropout when I did Game Changer. I was like, oh, he's one of the producers over at Dropout. And then, of course, I'm a comedian from New York City. So a lot of my friends are from that scene as well. And years ago, I used to go see this play called Identical Fucking Twins, the musical. And they used to do the chat back at my show, which is how I got involved with Josh Sharp and Aaron Jackson. And then, of course, Nicole Byer used to come to my shows all the time as well. And I would go support her. And I didn't realize that you DM'd for Nicole years ago, apparently.
Yes.
Nicole was, because I was like, Nicole, you got to play. Because I told Brennan, I was like, I want to do a live campaign. And then she was like, yeah, I did one years ago with Brennan Mulligan.
Mulligan, he was fine.
I did 1 year ago with Brennan Lee Mulligan. And then I was like, well, apparently we can't go back because we didn't know that we had the world's best DM. We didn't realize this. I mean, because we have the Beyonce of Dungeons and Dragons.
Literally.
Brennan says everybody go mute and all the nerds go mute.
girl, like it was just so like to see people's like response, like, oh my God, you guys got Brennan as your DM. And like and honestly, it's like, how can I ever go? I cannot play D&D again if it's not gonna be Brennan being the dungeon master.
I wish I could have given you the reverence you deserved at the time, but I didn't know. I didn't know. I couldn't see. Young Levin said I couldn't see. And so I went on a cruise right after and there was this guy there. He was like it was a cruise, but it was kind of a daddy cruise. So it was like an older crowd. There's this one young guy who was getting all the ding-a-ling, all the ass on this cruise. He was just like, he was cleaning up this guy.
Wow, stop telling everybody my business.
I said young. Anyway, and as we're all hanging out, and then he was nerdy, right? And in the midst of somehow he mentioned that he's really big into Dungeons and Dragons. And I just said, oh, I just played Dungeons and Dragons for the first time ever. And he was like, you gotta have a good dungeon master. You gotta have it. And I was like, yeah, I have this really cool guy named Brennan Lee Mulligan. And I mean, the ship stopped moving. The earth stopped rotating.
Birds started falling from the sky.
Yeah, birds landed in the sea.
Whales were cresting in the water.
I started floating 2 feet off the ground, light emanated my body. I turned into Dark Phoenix on the spot. He was like, "There's no way," and he was like, "You're lying." I was like, "Why would I lie?" He goes, "You're lying. You're making that up." And I was like, "I have his phone number, bitch. If you want in the water, I call him right now."
I can't believe it's so. First of all, that is so unbelievably. I'm like, I'm red as a tomato right now. It's very flattering. But also so funny for this dude to be like, you're so famous, and for him to be like, it's impossible for you to have met internet dungeon master Brennan Lee. Like, I don't know. That seems pretty plausible.
Okay, Brennan is
right?
so famous. I mean, he's fine. He's doing fine. You're not so famous.
Brennan was talking to me, not you. That's why you're talking to me.
So how did you get into the like when did you rise as the dungeon master power? When did this how did this happen?
Well, I mean, you got to believe that I'm like as stunned and bewildered. I wake up every day and, go to work in this job and just have a weird gnawing sensation of like, I'm getting away with something. This is too much fun and too cool. And listen, there's a lot of hard work involved with it, but my God, it's such a gift to be able to do it. And, I think I could speak for like myself and Sam and everybody that works at Dropout, where, it's only due to people's support of the platform and of the shows that we get to like wake up and go to work at this place. And like, everyone on set, it's like a gift to go to work with each and every one of them. Like, we're so proud of the crew that we have there and the cast that we get to work with. And how it started essentially was like, when I was 10 years old, we're going back. So I've been playing D&D since I was 10, right? I started running games when I was 10 years old.
Like running them, DMing them at 10?
DMing them at 10 years old. Yeah.
Remember when he was thrown out of the rich people's house? He was shunned. Shame. Shunned for being poor.
Yeah.
But, Brennan, let's continue this story after this break, okay?
Okay, let's do it.
And we are back with Brennan Lee Mull again.
I love that.
Brennan's like, never heard that one. You were 10 years old running campaigns.
Running campaigns. I ran a campaign from the age of like 11 to 17 that actually like got all the way to 20th level, finished.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So 20th level.
What level were we at?
You were
all of you who watch Dungeons and Drag Queens. What level were we at, and what level? How does that compare?
You were all 5th level, which is a great sweet spot for you start to get your juiciest, most fun abilities like extra attack and counter spell and things like that. And
walk on water, huge, absolutely huge.
Fucking walk on water.
I love that so much. It's so good. But honestly, what would have happened? If you'd walked across that river, we never would have met that big undead whale. We never would have had that giant fight. So, all things happen exactly as they
And it was Monet being like, oh, I just realized. I was like, this bit. And the shady thing is, Brennan knew the whole time. Brennan knew what she fucking had. Brennan fucking knew. That was the moment where I realized. We'll get into it later, but the moment where I realized we're fucking fighting you. We're fighting
that moment of dawning comprehension, where you put together. I remember you looking across the table at me and being like, "Wait a minute." If you're everybody who's not us, that means you're all of our enemies. And it was this, I don't know, this is weird to say. I was so proud in that moment of you like looking and being like, I need to fucking kill you. And me being like, yes, you must destroy me. This is what we have come here to do.
It's like that moment in the movie where like all the other characters are doing something and Bob is like one of the main ones. And like you can hear all of us arguing behind him, but the music is just cinematic. He's like, wait a minute. It's Brennan. We gotta get guys.
Well, it's The Incredibles too. When they, spoiler alert, it's been years. Spoiler alert. When they realize that woman is the villain,
that's not what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
They realize it's been you the whole time.
Okay,
right,
sorry, Brennan. Right.
No. And basically, long story short, I've been DMing since I was a kid. I worked as the head writer for a live action role playing summer camp in upstate New York. I was doing a lot of like nerdy game design, story creation, interactive storytelling stuff. And then, I went to college for screenwriting in New York, got out and spent a couple years as a bartender and was sort of like, I don't know anyone. Career's not going so good. And I started taking classes at UCB and pursuing comedy mostly as a way just to meet other people. Because I was in that, in the place that a lot of people I think get to in their like early mid-20s, like out of college, where you're just like, oh, I've like lost whatever like network I had in college. I'm a little bit adrift. I got to like, dig deep and find some way to connect with other people that are doing the kind of things I'm interested in. So that's what brought me to UCB. And it's this insane thing where when I first started doing improv there and doing comedy, I used to joke when I was on my first Herald team at UCB being like, listen, you're all doing it.
For those of you
Upright Citizens Brigade, yeah. Which is where I met Josh Sharp. By the way, I just saw the trailer for Dix the Musical, which is the adaptation of Fucking Identical Twins. Josh Sharp is like the sweetest, funniest dude in the world.
Drag Aaron Jackson.
Aaron also lovely, but I was not on a
Brennan, do not feed into Bob's nonsense. Do not feed into Bob's ridiculous.
Brennan Lee Mulligan and Aaron Jackson are in a vicious internet fight.
Aaron knows what he did ultimately. Aaron's longtime partner at the time did work at my favorite restaurant, so I have good things to say about Aaron in Gestalt space.
I think so. Okay.
The people that Aaron surrounds himself with. But you know what? I'm gonna fucking get that guy. I'm gonna fucking get him. Okay. But I came to comedy and like joked with my Herald team. You guys are doing improv. I'm just LARPing up here. I'm still doing my D&D bullshit. This is always what I'm going to be doing. But it was this funny thing where I was like,
LARPing is live action role play. I learned that from our good friend Kaleo.
Yes.
No, Kaleo taught me that.
Oh, okay.
Which is basically just like D&D, but you're dressed up and doing it IRL.
Yeah.
So basically I made this really brilliant decision. I was like, you can't make a career out of D&D. Let's pursue something lucrative like improv. And so that was my brilliant decision that I made.
That's so funny.
And then I pursued that and was like teaching improv and kind of getting by. I had a wonderful life, but I was like kind of scraping and not finding the place that would be like a full-time entertainment thing. And then I got hired at College Humor. And the moment I got there, I was like, finally, a place where I can do comedy. And, the company was like, we need you to play D&D. And I was like, what? I went all out of my way. I did all these years of comedy to get to the comedy job. And
side quest. Just a side quest.
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Honestly, yes. It was all just a side quest.
Life is one big D&D campaign.
It really is, honestly.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the challenges that you had with us. Now,
Jujubee specifically. Julinda Beatrice.
Edge. So Monet, Alaska, and Jujubee had all played like once over 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I had never played in my life. So you basically had 4 people who had literally never played ever. The college dropout, the dropout team is really, really fierce in how the amount of work that we didn't just show up that day.
Yeah.
I mean, when I say we were walked through this by our hands, I mean literally guiding us, force feeding the food into our mouths, teaching us.
And Jujubee just threw it all up. Jujubee did not digest anything. She just threw up everything she was told.
So there were moments when we got there, and I was like, by the way, obviously me and Monet love Jujubee. We're all just being silly here, but there were moments where I was like, Jujubee, this is. Yeah, you guys. I mean, I don't want to give you too much spoiler alerts, but you have to watch it because Jujubee had this power called what was it?
Invisibility or no? Pass without trace.
Pass without trace, which she thought meant she could disguise herself as anything in the world. So we'd be faced with this big issue, and then like a lot of D&D it's like playing Zelda. It's like Zelda is just a bunch of puzzles to figure out how to fight this final guy. You got to make a bunch of fix a bunch of puzzles, and Jujubee's answer would be like, "I've disguised myself as your earring. I'm in."
It was
like, what do you do when you get someone on the campaign who's just like, I just wiggle my fingers and everyone explodes?
Listen, I know. I hope I'm providing content for you both that is worthwhile right now, because this is just going to be more relentless positivity. I'm afraid to say it was fucking perfect. It's perfect. Here's
she was. You're right. No, BB. I mean,
she was great to watch. It was great to watch.
Yeah. All of you, like everyone, like. Alaska with this enormous tutu wearing half orc and like the character voice and face.
Her voice was so good.
Jujubee just like swinging for the fences. Like Troyanne, the first scene with Troyanne, like Monet, your character voice just like so grounded right away. And
all four of them, even when it kept changing.
First of all, Gertrude. Anyway, continue, Brennan. Yeah. I'm not gonna.
And the degree to which Gertrude was like immediately putting up the like red yarn conspiracy board of like what the fuck was going on in the underworld. Everyone was so engaged right away. Like, here's the actual all of the chaos in the world. Like, when I get curveballs, you gotta believe me when I say a curveball, even if it makes me have to bend over backwards to hit it, is such a welcome. Is such a welcome. Because what that means is a person is engaged. The only nightmare scenario for a dungeon master is if the person doesn't care. So no matter how crazy or unhinged or wild the swing, and also like all that stuff, like, Jujubee's like misunderstanding and ability, of like what it does. But ultimately, like, did it slow us down? Did it fuck up my plans? No, it's like chaos never fucks up plans. Apathy fucks up plans. Non-engaging, right? So every person at that table was so invested, and it's my favorite moment to watch people that are discovering the game. I think there's a moment where, I think, Bob, where you say it, where someone says a little joke. Oh, it's the Mark Ronson thing. Monet's so funny. Like Jujubee goes, like, which Mark? Mark so-and-so, and you go, Mark Ronson. And then I have dead Mark Ronson, of spoilers for the first episode. Everyone can go check it out, but there's dead Mark Ronson. And Bob goes, so anything we say, if we say it like in character, it becomes canon. Watching those realizations of people like falling into the magic of the game, that's the best.
Okay, and no spoilers. Okay, there are some spoilers, but I think the my favorite part of the Jujubee madness was in the shop fight. Yeah. So you got this fight between Gertrude, or not a fight, but the disagreement, and it ended up being a fight between Gertrude and the guy who runs the bazaar, this jackal-headed
Nyrith,
the demon, the demon who runs the bazaar. And we just it was my idea to go in and fight this guy and trick him. And it backfired severely.
Crazy.
But in the moment where Brennan, you were so gracious. You really, you were like, I'm not hiding anything. If you lie to me again, you basically out of character said, if you lie again, I will make this game very hard for you. Basically, in character, Brennan was like, if you tell another lie, I will make this game practically impossible for you. And then Juju B immediately lies. She goes, I never lied. We were like, bitch.
But that's the most fun part is like, because there's this weird, so like there's little paradoxes in D&D that make it a game you keep wanting to come back to over. You know, I've been playing it for like 25 years and I still want to come back as often as I can. One of the paradoxes is it's a world of limitless imagination. Mm-hmm. Anything is possible. And it's got hard and fast consequences for fucking up. And that thing of like boundless imagination, but fuck around and find out is this, it's just intoxicating. And there's that moment where, you know, Juju B, it says that thing of like, I've never told a lie. And then this demon has to get very, very serious. But, and again, people got to go watch the series because it's beautiful. And I think that the way in which so here's the thing that I will say. I've played
and watch Adventure Party too. It's really, really fun because you get to see me, Alaska, Monet, and Juju B basically completely out of character. Just talk about what the fuck just happened.
Yeah. These great talkback episodes. And I will say the way in which you guys, as your questing queens, as your adventuring party, actually go back and deal with the ramifications of that shop at the Midnight Bazaar. I've played a lot of D&D. I have never seen some people like that new to the game do something that like profound, like emotionally resonant, and really take a big risk and have it pay off in such a huge way. It was such a great moment of character growth. The fact that everyone, you know, like we had 4 episodes and everyone's character arc, like boom, 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 boom. By the end of 4 episodes, it was unreal. Like, it was, all of you were just like 0 to 60. You know, like you start the first episode and you're like, okay, what die do I roll to do this? And like 40 minutes later, everyone is fucking Meryl Streep, Oscar-winning scenes, deep in the character, hitting the adventure. It was unreal. It was like such a gift to be at that day.
Summer is the season for spending, darling, and it's already here. Do it right with Chime's online checking account. Chime's online checking account has tons of benefits that millions of members love, like fee-free overdraft up to $200. Plus, get paid up to 2 days early with direct deposit, all while managing your money on the go 24/7. That means more time and more money, baby, for beach trips and summer Friday splurges.
Now, with Chime checking account, you can get paid up to 2 days early. With qualifying direct deposit, you can get access to your money sooner. Chime offers fee-free overdrafts with SpotMe. Overdrafts up to $200 without fees with SpotMe. Sign up for SpotMe, and Chime will spot you for up to your limit when you make a purchase that exceeds your balance. Ditch the monthly fees. Chime has no monthly minimum balances, no overdraft fees, and Chime gives you access to 60,000 plus fee-free ATMs. That's more than the top 3 national banks combined. You can easily find one near you with the Chime app. Now with Chime, you can send and receive money, pay friends through Chime, no matter what bank account they use, and cash out your money fee-free.
Start building your credit up. Open a Chime checking account with at least a $200 qualifying direct deposit to get started. Get started at chime.com/rivalry. That's chime.com/rivalry. The Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card is issued by Stride Bank, N.A., member FDIC. Chime checking account and $200 qualifying direct deposit required to apply. Out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply. On-time payment history may have a positive impact on your credit score, and late payment may negatively impact your credit score. Results may vary. Fall may be the season of change. You know, the leaves are changing. There's a little crisp feel in the air. But life is more fun when you can choose to switch things up anytime. With Pear Eyewear, you can change your look in a snap. And their latest fall collections give you even more ways to celebrate your creativity and individuality. Whether you're getting in the mood for spooky season, celebrating sweater weather, which I love, or both, their new designs bring a little autumn joy to your everyday look.
Now, just one base frame is all you need to express yourself in many, many ways. This is giving verse. I love my pair of glasses so much because they allow me to change my look in a snap. And I wear the same pair of glasses for any event and just change the look from all around them. I love snapping. I can wear the same pair of glasses for any event and just change my look for all of them. Pear Eyewear is the only eyewear you'll ever need. Budget-friendly frames starting at $60, including prescription. Hundreds of top frames starting at $25, so you can build a collection of styles. You can even turn your glasses into sunglasses with a sun top with frames designed for all.
I love their sun tops. I really do. Change things up this season with new frames from Pair Eyewear. Go to paireyewear.com/sibling for 15% off your first pair. That's PAIR eyewear.com/sibling.
It's the calm before the holiday storm. But you can prepare your e-commerce business for the holiday rush now just by using ShipStation. Whether you're shipping from your house or a warehouse, ShipStation can help increase your profitability. Save time automating your shipping and returns in the ShipStation dashboard and keep costs down with industry-leading carrier discounts while your holiday orders roll in. You can quickly and easily update crucial order information and reduce errors. Effortless integration everywhere you sell online, including Amazon, Etsy, eBay, Shopify, and many, many more.
Manage your orders, print labels, compare rates, optimize every shipment, and automate delivery notifications. Simplify and automate your shipping no matter how big your business grows. ShipStation has enterprise solutions that reduce warehouse costs and improve profitability. ShipStation's robust automations and reporting makes scaling easy. And as your business grows, you can save thousands on shipping costs, girl. Industry-leading discounted rates from USPS, UPS, DHL, Global Post, and you can get discounts up to 84% off at USPS and UPS rates.
Yo, 84%, that is a lot, honey. 84% is a lot of discount.
Over 130,000 companies have grown their e-commerce business with ShipStation.
Shut up.
What?
Don't you ever talk.
Over 130,000 companies have grown. This is unhinged, y'all. This is the kind of work environment I had to deal with. But ShipStation makes it easy to work with Bob. It really does. And 98% of these companies that stick with ShipStation for a year become customers for life.
Set your business up for a holiday season success with ShipStation and go to ShipStation.com and use code Rivalry today and sign up for your free 60-day trial. That's ShipStation.com. Code Rivalry. Now, if there's one thing I hate, it is waking up during a hot Los Angeles night and having my sheets stuck to me, honey. Just like I'm stuck.
Oh my God,
Monet
Bob, this is happening to me.
Buffy
I've been sweating in my sleep, and I will wake up and I don't know why. Oh my God, am I dying? But I'll wake up and I'm like sweating and like I'm like stuck to my sheets.
Maybe you should get some Buffy Breeze sheets. They are comfy, they're affordable, and they keep me cool all night long. The Breeze sheets set by Buffy are the softest sheets you will ever try. It's woven from eucalyptus, making it softer than cotton or linen. You sleep cooler. Fabric made from eucalyptus is naturally cool to the touch, and it's research backed to be more breathable than cotton or linen and perfect for those hot sleepers. It's with natural botanic dyes that are skin safe and better for the planet. Buffy is really awarded and recognized.
Buffy products are consistently on best of lists. Architectural Digest and Glamour named the Buffy Breeze sheet set the best bed sheets of 2023. And that is high praise indeed. Okay? See for yourself why Buffy has over 50,000 five-star reviews. Shipping is free. Go to buffy.co and use code Rivalry for 25% off your first order. That's buffy.co, promo code Rivalry for 25% off. So was there anything that you had planned that we didn't get to do because of how we were played the game? We kind of went too far off track. Was there anything like that?
Any characters that we didn't get to see?
I think jumping back over my notes, and this is a funny thing too with Dimension 20 because we shot this in January,
yeah,
right? And we're recording this like mid-August.
Yeah,
is off the top of my head, I think that there were a couple of other locations you could have explored in the town by the riverside, the one that had the Midnight Bazaar in it. Like there was the archives that you could have gone to gotten some like lore information.
Yeah.
There were a couple other things like that. There were, and I think you can remember like, oh, there were like a couple other named places. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, right, I think you all found everything. Like there were no NPCs you didn't encounter. Basically, there were like a couple of magical resources that you could have gotten that you didn't get, but you ended up taking care of business. So, you know, a couple things like that. You didn't end up needing those extra little treasures and things like that.
Well, you all really let us, I mean, obviously you let us, have a lot of fun and go really, you didn't put too many restraints on us. You did let us fuck around and get ourselves into some pretty sticky situations, which is, I think, I don't know, part of which was a big part of the draw. I think that what made it so much fun for me was that everyone, we were so involved. And I was lucky enough to sit next to Jujubee, who was really, I mean, she would get deeply emotional into the game, which made me deeply emotional into the game. Like y'all, we were in here crying. We were in here laughing. I mean, sweating with anxiety.
At the end of the story, when we have that like moment, you know, that with the cat tree and everything, and Jujubee is like crying. It was like the energy and the tension in the room of all those decisions, like y'all, like that's not something that we were like putting on for the camera. Like it was like real feelings and real emotion that we were, because I mean, in those 4 episodes, those 2 days we filmed this thing, we got so invested in these characters and their lives and like what they were experiencing. It was so crazy. Like it was like this spiritual experience. It was kind of wild.
Well, you guys took a big risk with that because y'all made a cat tree figurine. Yeah. What if she never summoned Cat Tree again? Y'all would have just like had this thing.
So this is how good. And by the way, I want you to know, Bob, the thing you said at the table of the devil works hard, but D20 works harder. That's now like printed up in the art shop. We love that so much. So like they built that after Jujubee established that summon.
Yeah, because she made it up on set.
She made it up day one. Literally, we're recording in the Dome. Jujubee says that. Rick Perry, our amazing creative producer, production designer, the maestro himself, hears that, and he just leans over to either like Raven Bartlett, who's one of our lead model makers, or Casey or anyone else, and just goes like, "Hey, let's get started on fabricating that summon." That's like
wild,
and it just starts. It just goes, you know, and everybody there who were our amazing editors. I got to shout out Tyler Schulke, who's the lead editor on this one, who just did an incredible job. Carlos Luna, our head of series production. But like the building that stuff, and again, like the emotional place that everybody got to, I have to tell you, like the credit for that is fully on all of you as performers, because you're seated at a table, you got these little plastic dice, you've got like a sheet, basically like an Excel spreadsheet in front of you full of numbers. That's not like the things you would imagine gets you to this deep, emotionally profound place. So it's really about giving yourself the vulnerability and the grace to let go and truly get lost in this world. And when you do that, and I can point to, like, if I was going to be like get a whiteboard in front of me and point out all the amazing decisions that got you there, I think the smartest things that the cast did as performers, that both of you and Alaska and Jujubee did as performers, was deeply tie your characters to the stakes of the world, right? Mm-hmm. Troyanne, it was such a gift, Monet, when you made Troyanne and said she's been to the underworld before. She comes here, she's an assassin, she hunts people down and gives their souls as this tribute to the goddess of the underworld. What a gift, because then I have a character that I can always go, yeah, you know this, you've been here before. Mm-hmm. Like you have you're tied to the world, you have stakes. And for Gertrude, having this intense cosmic tie to the world, like this curse that, you know, no spoilers, you get into at the end of the thing, but it's this really profound personal connection that basically ties Gertrude's whole long immortal life deeply into the central narrative. So like when the adventure is both cosmic and personal, that's when you get to those deep emotional places, right? Yeah. What's happening to the universe is a reflection of what's happening to you as an individual. And man, that was, every single person just took such huge risks and allowed themselves to be vulnerable, to just let go. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was really great.
So I don't know. So I came home and my boyfriend knows a little bit about Dungeons and Dragons. And I was asking, like, I mean, not that I'm worried about the company, Dungeons and Dragons, they're probably doing fine. But how do these companies make money? Because you don't actually have to buy anything from Dungeons and Dragons to play Dungeons and Dragons, which seems like a
company, like
Dungeons and Dragons is a company, right?
Oh, got it. I see what you're saying.
So Dungeons and Dragons is a game that is published by Wizards of the Coast, that is a games company, and they do have their core rule book. So they do have like the player's handbook and the monster manual, the dungeon master's guide. So these rules do exist. So they make money as a games publisher. But I will say, like as you're pointing out, you know, when I moved from Magic the Gathering, where you always have to buy the new set of cards that comes out, I bought the 3.5, like we got the 3.5 core rule book of an earlier edition of Dungeons and Dragons. And I played with those books for like, I'm actually still playing with those books like 20 years later. So you figure you spend like $35 on a player's handbook back in the early 2000s and playing with it.
Right.
You get a lot of, you know, like that's a lot of staying
power. A lot of
power.
bang for your buck.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the base it's a deeply communist. It's comrades and dragons.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing is it's like, it's a rare thing. And I think what keeps people coming back to tabletop role-playing games, whether you're playing Dungeons and Dragons or you're playing indie games, you know, Blades in the Dark or you know, other games like Cthulhu, Vampire the Masquerade, you know, there's so many amazing games. There's like indie games like Wanderhome and Wickedness and things like that. What keeps you coming back is what the company is giving you is a set of tools to make your own game. And that's what people get hooked on, is like, oh, I already have this group of friends that I think they're the funniest, smartest people in the world. I want to see what their creativity is, rather than necessarily like consuming media passively. Could you give me a set of tools that me and the people I think are the best, we get to make our own story up? And that's just like, what a pitch. It's like a deeply intoxicating offer.
So do you play like other board games? Like, because my boyfriend and I, we have board game night all the time. I need to invite you over. I want to see you play some other games, Brennan.
I love board games. I have a little switch in my brain, because D&D is fundamentally like collaborative and cooperative, right? Like even though we're adversarial, we're still trying to kind of tell a story together. So, but if we're
even though Monet was trying to fight me the entire time,
I was not trying to fight you the entire time.
Yes, you were.
No, I was
there are
not.
literally clips of you saying, "We're gonna get you. We're gonna get you." Monet, it's on camera, bitch.
It was at the beginning, before I realized we were in it together. At the beginning, but you
just said you weren't doing it. But you just said you were never doing it. So which one is it? Was it never, or was it only the beginning?
You know, because you look like that. You look like a bitch I saw in the underworld before, and I didn't trust her. So that's why at the beginning. But I learned to trust you, which is how I'm still learning this on this podcast, by the way. I figured that out. So I'm gonna say a few board games, Brennan, and I want you to say either roll or troll by your like expert board game brain and mind.
Can you just qualify? Roll means you love it. Troll means you hate it. What is roll?
Yeah, roll is good. Troll is bad. You don't like it.
Gotcha.
Catan.
Roll.
I like Catan too. It's fun.
I'm getting that. I'm getting that longest road. I'm getting that longest road. I'm getting that. I'm getting I'm stealing your stuff with knights. Listen, who thought a game with sheep? Was it sheep, bricks, wood?
Yeah. Yes.
And stone
and materials. Like and you get to do. Yeah.
What's Catan?
It's a board game. You get like these materials to like build stuff, and it's hard to explain. I played it like 3 times, but it's been fun.
It's a game.
You're eating the explanation here.
It's a game.
Monet says it's a board game. All right, thanks.
Yeah, Catan is like you're trying to beat these other people by collecting mineral like natural resources. The game is about making Christmas with family almost ruined. The game is I don't know that I can talk to you anymore after what you did to me. You, by putting the robber on that tile, you know what you did, right?
So
Ticket to Ride.
I've never played.
Really?
I've never played Ticket to. Oh wait, no, I have played Ticket to Ride. I'm gonna say roll. I played it one time with my friend John Timothy back in New York, and it was a lovely time.
I need to play with Bob. Bob would be a monster in Ticket to Ride. It would be because Bob like.
Is this the one where you build a train?
Say it again. Yeah, the trains. Yeah,
we did play that. We did play that together.
We did. Did you win?
I don't remember. No, you and I were the absolute worst. Jacob and
Andy
and Andy ruined us, and you and I were the absolute worst at the game, actually.
Go Fish.
Troll.
Go Fish is
the card game.
Yes,
Go Fish is a troll from me. You know what? No, I stand by it. I prefer to engage my games with a degree of civility and camaraderie, and I think that telling someone to go fish is dismissive and frankly rude.
And that's why Monet loves it. And that's why Monet loves it.
Secret Hitler.
Oh, I've never gotten to play. I've never actually gotten to play. But this is one of those lying games, right? It's like a game.
Yeah.
I don't like the name of that game.
Secret Hitler
I won't like
such a fun game.
It's an incredibly fun game. It's actually about defeating fascists as they attempt to take over the legislative process. But I will agree, Bob, that the name is very jarring. I got I think they sent me like a sort of a box, like a sort of like nice,
has that, like the deluxe wooden box. Yeah,
the deluxe wooden box, and it says Secret Hitler on it. And I was like, I don't know that I can just leave this out.
When your boyfriend has a big box that says Hitler on it, so here's the thing: they should call it like defeating Hitler. But I will say, if you are a part of a group of people who has had a genocide or enslavement, I think that all people, not all, I'm assuming this, but a lot of Jewish people have fantasies of killing Hitler, and a lot of Black Americans who are descendants of American chattel slavery have fantasies of like fucking up slave owners and stuff. So if the game was called Kick Hitler's Ass, I think you might get more people on board.
There's a rebrand. There's a rebrand coming down the track for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And those are the four I wanted to ask. Bob, do you have anyone to ask?
Well, Monet and I created a board game that we've not yet. You remember our board game? So Monet calls it a manic episode. It was not a manic episode, but I was like, we gotta make a game. We're gonna make a game.
It was a manic episode. We were in Aspen and we were playing this game. My wife and I introduced Andy and introduced Bob to this board game, and Bob was like, "Oh, this game is great." So we played it like so many times on this trip. So after one night, we were at the Airbnb, and Bob was like, "We can make our own." So I was like, "Sure." From like 11 o'clock to like 5 o'clock in the morning, Bob was like, "Monet, you are not leaving this table until we finish making up this game." We made up all the cards, what the die gonna look like, what the board is gonna look like. It was crazy.
Wait, I want to play. What's the game?
So we were inspired by the game. Is it King of Tokyo?
King of Tokyo, yeah.
So we were inspired by King of Tokyo. So we made a drag queen version of King of Tokyo. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, I have the whole thing in my Google Drive. We just need a really great graphic designer to help us with the cards. And then one day down the line, we will release our game. Maybe we'll release it just for like you can download the cards and print them yourself, but donate something if you want. I don't think we're looking.
It's really good. Bob is a fountain of ideas. Bob has really good ideas for different cards and with different roles. Like it was really a great process. But I was like, we look like two crackheads here sitting up at this fucking laptop trying to make this game.
Well, that was because we were doing crack while making the game.
I did a little. You did a lot.
Yeah, we also did do a small amount of crack while making the game.
It's hard. You got to keep the energy up while you're going. You got to keep focused, and I get it. Hey, by the way, for real, you have my email. If you're looking for like game graphic designer, whatever, like we can make this dream a reality. Just let me know.
We should do it because we already have the whole game made. The whole game is already mapped out. We just need someone to design the cards in the world. Ooh. And maybe we'll there's got to be a way online to just put out PDFs and someone can just download all of them and print them out themselves. There's a lot. I think like this is where we're hitting the edge of my knowledge base. But there are sites like itch.io or DriveThruRPG that you can upload PDFs of games, and you can either make it like donation based or you can put a cost for the PDF. So yeah, absolutely, you can publish your games independently online through PDF.
No, but we're going full Monty. We're creating this game. We're getting the die done. We'll be selling this drag queen game.
Monet and her capitalist agenda.
I want to donate it all to SAG.
There you go. Yeah,
okay. First of all, SAG is not a charity. Let me be very clear to everyone. SAG's not a nonprofit. Okay. SAG is a union, not a nonprofit.
So Brennan, I have to say this. Bob, so Juju got closure on her story. Alaska got closure. Bob and I our stories are not done.
I agree with you. And I think that's the very exciting place to end that as well. Cause I mean, there's like definitely a seed of what is to come. Right. Yeah. So without spoiling the end of it all, Troyanne and Gertrude definitely have, there's a chapter break, like a big breakthrough happened at the end for Gertrude and Troyanne, but there's more yet to come. Listen, name the time and the place. I'm there, you know, or I guess the place is the dome. Name the time. But yeah, truly, like I would love to go back and see those characters again.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
It was so. My question for both of you, I'm turning it on you. I have questions. My question for both of you is like, do you remember a moment where it felt like everything clicked for you at the table in terms of either a moment where it clicked like mechanically, where you're like, okay, I get my character. I get how you like narrate actions and initiate combat and like do like dialogue. Or do you remember a moment where like suddenly the world started to feel like, oh, like I'm in this now. Like I'm not having to kind of push to perform. I feel like totally engrossed in the world.
I know what it was for me, and it was actually pretty early on. It was when it was around the time that it was right after, because I had a spark and then a full-on flame. Mm-hmm. The spark was when Alaska punched the tiny little gnome.
Bump Williams, yeah, the goblin. Yeah.
The goblin through the window. She's like, I want to hit this motherfucker. But when we gathered around the demon twink, the undead
Wallace,
twink, Wallace, the undead twink, and then we're all like attacking him and trying to figure out what's up with this guy, and there's something nefarious, and we actually figured it out. Like I think it was Alaska or Jujubee. It was one of them who was like there's something funky going on with this guy. He's got a thing going on. Mm-hmm. And that was the moment for me where I was like, I was already like having fun, like a little haha, but I was like, it's fun and exhilarating to solve the puzzles, basically.
Yeah. I think the most exhilarating part for me when I was like, oh my God, I think my spark was when I realized my water walk. I think realizing that I had this thing all the time and I wasn't playing with all the tools that I had the whole time. I was like, oh, I have like all these things I can access. I was like, But then when we had that big exchange at the bazaar, it was like crazy, and we like barely got out there by the hairs on our chins, and then from then on, we as a group were deciding like what our next move is and how we were going to proceed. I think that was my like, oh, like we are really out here like figuring the story out together and crafting it, and Brennan's over here being the bad guy trying to get us.
I'm all the bad guys. It's really wild too, because I always realize no matter how much you explain or how much you help people make their characters, there's always these assumptions you make when you've been playing the game for a long time. That moment when Alaska looks up at me on camera and goes, wait, can we die? And I go, I should have explained. Yes, you can die. You have these moments where it's not like the realizations about how deep the game can get are not linear. It's like this weird spider web that you're kind of like, oh, I'm seeing how deep into character I can get. I'm seeing how complicated my abilities are, but also how much I'm able to do with those abilities. And like, oh, that moment, so funny. There's like a little social clip of Jujubee of it's Bob hitting a really critical nat 20. That's a total game changer and like turns the tide of fortune in the battle. And Jujubee's like, and it has that moment and it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. That was so straight of me. That was so bro of me to do. And it's such a funny moment because you really, it just takes you over like a spell. And suddenly you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, seeing that nat 20 come up flooded my brain with more endorphins. I'm like sweating. I was so nervous. And now I feel like I've literally survived something deadly. Like that's the feeling of euphoria washing over me.
Now I want to say we got a lot of nat 20s, but by the way, the four of us, we did our number of nat 1s too. We were, as much as we had some critical, like there was a two, I mean, our chunk where we were just rolling
nothing
back to back to back. And I was like, no one touched the dice. No one fucking moved. Brennan has Alaska goes, the dice are weighted. The dice are
like, I know, I rolled it, and I don't think this weighted the wrong way. I'm not getting my nat 20.
I really love the moment where me and Monet were really into like describing how we would do things, and then Alaska was like, same. Looks just like that.
Looks just like that. God, the thing with the voice in the very final episode. I don't want to spoil it, but
sorry, I had a little.
I had a little, sorry. Yeah, God, that was so funny. But
Alaska is a really great comedian. She's so funny. Yeah. And whenever I tour, I haven't toured with her in a long time, but when we were touring, we've done a few tours together. I'm just like, this bitch is just so naturally funny in such a B. Arthur deadpan, brilliant way.
Wow.
And I mean, I gotta say, I was really happy to have done it with the three drag queens and the 5 people that I did it with. That it feels like the best way to ever D&D. And Brennan did let us know that if we ever invite him over, we will be very disappointed when he comes over with a little a notebook.
I got a notebook. I got a whiteboard with some dry erase markers. Production quality going way down, way down.
I want to ask you before we get out of here. By the way, if you are interested, I strongly recommend going to watch it and exploring other seasons too. I started looking at some of the other seasons because in the world of nerding. Do you two identify as nerds, by the way?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I feel like a proud nerd. That's been true about me for a long time. I think that's accurate.
I don't think I'm a nerd. I think I'm nerd adjacent.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is why I think I'm a nerd, because like when what makes you really there's an awareness where you think your thing is like super cool. Like when I was younger, I was in all these nerd worlds. It was Yu-Gi-Oh! And Digimon, but I really leaned into probably the nerdiest thing that you could ever lean into. And nothing will be more nerdy than the 2 things I fell in love with. One was professional wrestling, which is like, if you think the world of D&D is wild, baby, the world of WWF in the early 2000s, late 90s is truly, truly wild. And then, of course, Drama Club, which is every bit as nerdy as the next thing. And now, we're doing drag, which is its own world.
See, I didn't do nerdy shit like that. I was in school chorus. That was my nerd.
Oh, no. Oh, sorry. Cool stuff. Oh, Monet was doing hip stuff.
Is cooler than wrestling.
Like school chorus. When I said, no, I was doing a hip thing. I was...
It's cooler than the fucking wrestling, bitch. Anyway, Brennan, it really was. I am so happy that you guys asked me to be a part of the Dimension 20 world. It is so fun. It really is one of the most fun times I've ever had on camera, and I've done 3 seasons of Drag Race. This was really so fun. Thank you.
Well, I never got to ask Brennan my last question, which was what is next for Dimension 20? What do you guys have coming? I mean, I know you get no spoilers, obviously. Yeah, well, so what can we look forward to in the future with D20? That's where I was going. So I was going to get there.
We just started our newest side quest, which is Dimension 20 Mentopolis. It's like a film noir crime story set in a mind. So it's like a city inside of a mind. So like the characters are like the brain, like this person's brain has like the attention and impulse and consciousness and curiosity are all represented as like a gumshoe and a gritty reporter and stuff like that. So it's like sort of like Inside Out or like Osmosis Jones.
Yeah.
It's like but if it was like a gritty noir, like inside of a mind. So that's what we have right now. That's really, really fun. And we have 2 other seasons we've already recorded. And I'll say too, but honestly, for anyone who's watching, one of the things that we really love, that is like a deep honor about doing Dungeons and Drag Queens. So yes, we have more seasons coming down the pipe. We're about to record another season in a couple of weeks, which we're super excited about. We have like D20 through like the middle of next year already.
Wow.
Hey, devil works hard.
So if Dungeons and Drag Queens was your first Dimension 20, what should the next one be? Because a lot of Drag Race fans do this. They're like, start with 4, then go back to blah, blah, blah. Or Monet does this with Survivor. Monet's like, apparently you can't watch Survivor in order. I didn't know the rules. Well, apparently,
yeah, you want to start like maybe All Stars or Pearl Islands
Literally what I say, Brennan. Yes, thank you.
You got it. Yeah, jump to see. It's like season 8. Like you want to start around season 8. They took them a couple seasons to figure it out.
Yeah.
So wait, what should they watch after if they watch Dungeons and Dragons of Us? What should they go to next?
So number one, I just want to say for the record, one of the most amazing things about Dungeons and Drag Queens is we have been so excited to welcome all of the drag fans that are discovering Dropout. So excited to have all of our Dropout D20 fans discover. They probably already knew, but the ones that didn't are discovering drag and perform. All of our amazing performers. There's a third category of people that have been coming to Dungeons and Drag Queens that are just people who love watching an adventure of people learning the game. And are literally like, hey, I didn't know about Dimension 20. I wasn't necessarily watching Drag Race, but these performers are doing such a great job of showing how you fall in love with the game. So weirdly, I think that Dungeons and Drag Queens is going to be a lot of people's first seasons going forward because it's so inviting. It's so welcoming to new people.
In spite of Bob being there.
Oh my God. The seasons to check out after that. Here's the ones I would tell you to check out after that. Fantasy High is our very first season, and it's the one that has the most content behind it. Fantasy High is our first core season with our core cast that has it's a high school for heroes. So it's like D&D Breakfast Club, right?
Nice.
I would say that's a great one. I would say you could also, if you're looking for other similar shorter ones, there's one called Misfits in Magic that is GM'd by my wonderful friend Abria Iyengar, who's the greatest GM ever. She's like the absolute
What's a
best.
GM?
GM is Game Master because that season plays a different game than Dungeons and Dragons. It plays a little bit of a simpler, more stripped down game called Kids on Brooms, which is like a school for magic. Then I would say other really popular seasons we have. There's A Crown of Candy, which is a really intense, dramatic season.
I saw the trailer for that one was wild. I was like, this is a
Rounds
wild
Candy.
A Crown of Candy, which is like a mashup of Candyland with Game of Thrones. So it's like, you know, because you look at Candyland and you're like, oh, it's King Candy and Queen Frostine. And then you're like, but kings and queens historically have been some of the cruelest, most are there candy fiefdoms with like candy taxes being levied? So that season is like little gumdrop people being like, my lord, Bonbon Town has been burned to the ground by raiders. Like that's sort of the vibe of that one.
Not Bonbon Town.
Not Bonbon Town. And then the last one I recommend. Oh, sorry, go for it.
Go ahead. You go. Sorry, because I thought you were to go ahead.
I'd also recommend a lovely one to check out is A Starstruck Odyssey, which is a super fun, goofy. If you're into that one's like lots of hijinks and shenanigans, which is a sci-fi space opera, hot suns, hot guns season, which is great.
Okay.
Even if you don't watch each season, I'm telling you, because I was going through each trailer to find out which one I wanted to watch, and I literally couldn't decide one because they were just they all sounded so good. I think I've decided now that I'm going to go back and watch the Candy Throne, the Candy Crown.
Yeah, Crown of Candy. Oh, I think
Crown of Candy.
It's if you watch that one, the vibe you will see people. There was a meme going around about me because when I was playing with all of you, you're learning the game for the first time, so I wanted to be as welcoming and inviting as possible because like it's a bit like I don't know if people appreciate the fucking chutzpah to be like a very like an extremely well-known famous performer and go, yeah, put me on camera doing something I've never done before for the first time. A lot of fucking bravery. I take my hat off eternally to all of you for doing something so exciting and being so just throwing yourselves into it. Now, so I was very welcoming in our game. In A Crown of Candy, there's another side of me.
Brennan was like, listen, y'all bitches better pony out. Y'all know how the fucking motherfucking game work. Get this shit together, bitch.
That's the I'm gonna kill your dog side of me. That's the I'm all the bad guys, fucking not pulling any punches. So if you want to see a little bit of a harsher Brennan Lee Mulligan, A Crown of Candy is not a bad place.
Oh, if you want the harsh Brennan Lee Mulligan, last thing I'll say, we will leave it on this. Google Brennan Lee Mulligan, Tony the Tiger. You will come back and watch this interview in a very different manner. It is Brennan was in these streets acting wild, honey. Wild. Is that on, I just saw it on YouTube. Is it on Dropout or no?
I believe it's still on Dropout. So that that was an awesome. I think it was Brian Miller, Eli Uden, Carolyn Page were the other players there, and it was a video podcast that was running on Dropout back a couple of years ago called Table Pop, which was like one-shot pop culture tabletop games, and that one was us playing a bunch of cereal mascots.
No more bro. Just good. Brennan Lee Mulligan, Tony the Tiger. You will never, ever look at Brennan the same ever again.
Oh, Brennan, thank you so much for being here. This is really a treat to have you here. It's been fabulous having you.
Oh God, it's a pleasure and an honor. I remain even here talking, just shooting the breeze with both of you. I remain such an enormous fan. It is such an honor and a pleasure to be here. You're the best. As often as I get to play with you both, that's my heart's dearest wish. My God.
Now, what would you like to say to Bob?
Anyway, thank you all. We'll see you all on another episode of
Guess nothing. All right, thank you, Brennan.
Bye.